The basis to Sonic R's speedrun movement is drifting, but there's two parts to it, drifting and counterdrifting. Here you can see a run making use of just the regular drift mechanic. Drifting is pretty straightforward. You have two drift buttons, one left and one right. If you want to go through a corner, you press a respective drift button of the direction you want to go into to turn more sharply. It works pretty much exactly as you'd expect, with the difference that drifting actually slightly increases your speed, assuming your angle isn't facing too far off the direction you're moving in. In order to adjust your angle, you can periodically release the drift button and repress it. Since drifting speeds you up, you want to drift as much as possible. In order to maximize your drifting time, you can make use of flat angle wall bumps to bounce off and set up a drift, or drift along straight walls to be able to make use of the extra drift speed even on straights. However, you can improve this with the addition of counterdrifts as seen in this run. The basic idea of counterdrifting is that rather than just using the drift buttons to tighten your turning around the direction you're moving in, you can also use them to carry drift momentum away from the direction you're facing. To do that, you start a drift as normal in order to build up momentum and a diagonal angle, and then switch to holding the drift button opposite to the angle you're facing. This results in your character tilting off to the side and running diagonally. It is best used when coming out of a sharp turn into a straight in order to carry the drift momentum for much longer, or drift along on straight walls. You can once again adjust your angle by tapping the stick. In order to remain in the counterdrift, you can't fully release the stick because it will cause you to lose momentum and drop the counterdrift, but you can momentarily release. So by changing between holding and tapping, you can adjust your counterdrift angle. Counterdrifting is significantly harder to use than regular drifting, so don't worry if you can't get it right immediately, it does take a lot of practice. For a beginner, I would recommend focusing mostly on the regular drifting as it is easier and gives you good fundamentals, but keeping the counterdrift tech in the back of your head and trying to apply it occasionally on straight wall drifts and on turn exits. You will pick it up over time and get more comfortable with it. However, if you speedrun any percent no out of bounds, I can definitely recommend getting familiar enough with it to be able to apply it on the Helix skip in Radiant Emerald, as that makes it significantly easier. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, put them in the comments and I will do my best to answer them.